What's up, guys? So today I am out and about in London and the weather is weird. It was raining 1 minute and it's sunny the next, and now it's cloudy. It can't make up its mind. I can't seem to find enough light hitting me. There we go, that's better. So basically I'm out and about testing my new camera and my new filter. So my new camera being the Canon EOS R, which is my upgrade from the Canon EOS RP, which I was using for quite a while. I've still got the Canon M50, which I use as kind of like a backup secondary camera. But here I am today out in London testing the Canon EOS R to see how it fares when it comes to things like vlogging, taking photos out and about the city. And yeah, the other thing I'm testing is the Polar Pro Peter McKinnon Signature Edition filter, but that's for a whole different video because I want to do a detailed review on that and what I think of it. This is really hard to hold because I bought the battery grip for the Canon EOS R and it's just monstrously heavy. I am gonna carry on and take some more photos. Here's some B-roll to keep you guys going, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and find a spot to give you some provisional thoughts of what I think, and then head back to home or the studio, home, same thing. And yeah, and that's where we'll do a more detailed review of my opinion on the Canon EOS R and whether it is worth getting as a camera for content creation, filmmaking, whatever it is you do in 2021. So right now I'm actually on a high-rise bridge kind of place, which I'm hoping will take me to the center of the London Wall, and I can take some nice kind of upper level shots because I don't want to be on ground level. There are some nice things that I can take photos of and I don't want to be on ground level. So I'm kind of walking across, let me just show you. So I'm kind of walking across these areas and you can see there, it's got the City of London, and then there we go. Through here, I'm guessing it takes me to the main road, but yeah, we'll see in a minute. So let's have a look at the view. It's very noisy. It's not as impressive as I thought, but yeah. I used to work around here, so familiar sights, I guess. But yeah, not as impressive a view as I thought. I thought I'd be able to see the Gherkin and stuff more up that way, but clearly I can't. Let me just dial that down a bit. There you go. Yeah, it's still quite nice. I've never been up here. There is this winding kind of pathway this way, which looks quite interesting. I wonder where this leads. St. Alphege Walk, apparently. This is apparently leads to the Museum of London. But look at that. That looks quite nice. I might take a nice photo of this. Okay, so this pathway apparently leads towards the Barbican. I don't know whether you guys can see it there. Yeah, there you go, there. Barbican. And yeah, I never knew this path existed. It's insane. Been in London my whole life and getting to explore it a little bit is absolutely insane. See, I've been down there before. I know exactly where we are, but I've never been up here. It's amazing. Well, I'm gonna try and find my way. Let's turn this around. I'm gonna try and find my way down. Hang on. That's better. I'm gonna try and find my way down and find a quiet place to talk about my thoughts on the EOS R. Okay, so I found a relatively quiet place to kind of sit down and talk to you guys in, and so yeah, I spent a lot of the day today just going around taking pictures, recording, and just kind of using the EOS R. And so far I have found it to be amazing. I love it. It's really good. It's so easy to use in terms of the kind of advanced functionality it has. Being able to set modes. I mean, this is all stuff I'm going to cover when I get back into the studio, but like the ability to kind of just set modes for both your video and your photo, settings kind of just registered in, makes life so much easier. I mean, I think that's a standard across most DSLR, advanced kind of professional DSLR cameras anyway, but it's new to me. So I thought it was amazing that you could do that, and especially for video, because with the EOS RP, you can do it for photo, but you can't do it for video. And that was something that I thought was a little bit lacking. So now that you can do that for photo and video on the EOS R, or no, now, I mean, EOS R kind of came out beforehand, but still, but the fact that you can do it for both is a lifesaver for me, because I'm switching between that 24 FPS and the 60 FPS modes really quickly. I'm not having to kind of toggle around with the settings. I've just got it all registered, set in, and I'm just kind of flicking which mode I'm in. And the same thing for kind of photography. If I'm ever kind of shooting indoors, then I've got a mode that's set to have all the settings for indoor settings. Then I've got an outdoor setting. Then I've got a portrait setting. So it's really convenient for me, because especially doing paid photography work means that I can really quickly switch between all the modes. Anyway, the main reason that I bought the EOS R was because of the log format. The EOS RP was fantastic, but the one thing it was missing was being able to film video in log format, and that's basically raw format. And being able to film in log is something that I've been kind of wanting to do, because I want to advance my skills in filmmaking, video editing, all of that kind of stuff. And being able to film in log, edit footage in log, get that increased dynamic range in my footage, make my footage look better, is just something that I've wanted to do for a while. And getting the EOS R means that I can now practice doing that. Anyways, station for me is right over there. I'm gonna head over there, I'm gonna head home. So far, I love the EOS R. I really enjoyed using it today. Here's a picture of what it looks like as my rig is set up right now. The battery grip does make it a little bit hunky and heavy to kind of carry around, but I do like that additional grip that it gives me. It is good, the fact that I can have two batteries in there and I don't have to worry about running out of battery that fast, because one dies, the other one kind of kicks in. So that is fantastic. So yeah, so far, fantastic. I'm gonna head over to that station. I'm extremely tired. I'm gonna go home, rest up, and then we're gonna pick this up when we're back in the studio. And here I am back in the studio. So what did we learn today? We learned that my legs are not very strong, because they are in ridiculous amounts of pain after walking around the city like that. That was a long walk. I think I did over, I walked over 12 miles in total. That was fun, but like my feet hurt right now. I'm kind of crippled. I'm just kind of waddling around everywhere. Anyways, back to the topic. The topic is this guy. This is the Canon EOS R, and I'm actually kind of sad, because I'm having to use, I'm not sad, but I'm having to use the Canon M50 for this segment of the video, because I want to show and display to you the Canon EOS R here in my hand. This, honestly, I have had so much fun using this camera. I previously had the Canon EOS RP. You guys saw my review on that, and you also saw that I was trading that in. And basically what I was doing is I was trading it in for the EOS R. And there are a couple of reasons for that, and that's basically what I'm going to talk about right now. It's my reasons for getting the Canon EOS R in 2021, and whether it is still a worthwhile camera to get. I mean, you guys saw my review on the RP. It is a fantastic camera. I really recommend it as an initial upgrade to anybody who's upgrading from something like a M6 Mark II or a Canon M50 or an entry-level mirrorless camera, and wants to kind of step into that full frame realm but not pay that premium price point. However, the EOS R does have that premium price point on it. It is a much more expensive camera. The question bears is, what are the benefits of this camera over something like the EOS RP, which you can, you've got the full frame functionality. It shoots at all the same kind of frame rates and resolutions as the EOS R. So why would I trade the RP in for the R? There are a couple of reasons, and the first one is basically the capability to shoot in 4K without losing that dual pixel autofocus, which is very important, because if I wanted to make 4K footage, which sometimes I might do, then I would lose the autofocus if I were to use the RP to film in 4K. However, with the EOS R, that limitation isn't there. It has full functionality with the 4K. However, the only limitation with this camera filming in 4K is that it has a 1.71 times crop, something weird like that. It's basically got a little bit of crop on it. As limiting as that is, it still has the 4K capability, and without any other limitations such as autofocus, you don't lose your dual pixel autofocus, which essentially renders the RP useless in 4K mode. Same with the Canon M50. M50 has 4K, however it loses that dual pixel autofocus. So yeah, being able to shoot in 4K without any limits, apart from the crop. Now my next reason for upgrading to the Canon EOS R is because this camera is capable of filming in C-Log. It can actually film in 8-bit C-Log and 10-bit C-Log. However, for the 10-bit C-Log you have to film in 4K and it has to be hooked up to an external monitor, which is kind of annoying. However, that's fine because the 8-bit C-Log is more than enough to make the footage look amazing. And what that basically means, if you're wondering what is C-Log, what is log, what are you talking about, what is this log that you keep mentioning? And what log footage means is that the footage filmed is in a logarithmic format. It's basically a flat format, and what that essentially means is that the footage holds a lot more detail and a greater amount of dynamic range. So you can play around with the colors and the details within the footage a lot more when you're post-editing and bring out those details whilst you're editing and color grading the footage. But basically, have a look for yourself. In this scene, you can see at the beginning here, this is what the scene looks like in log format. And then when you color grade it, when you kind of edit it, color grade it correctly, this is what it looks like once it's kind of fully edited and color graded. You can see the increased amounts of detail, and you can see it going from that flat format into the more detailed kind of color rich format. And that's because that footage contains all of that detail when filmed in log format that can then be brought out in post-production, because it's basically the same kind of format that professional cinematographers and filmmakers film all of their footage in, and editors edit that footage to make those kind of cinematic looking films and videos, and it's why their footage looks so great. So gaining that experience in filming and editing log footage is something that I've wanted, and now with the Canon EOS R I can make that a reality. So I can increase my skills in video editing and make my footage look way better. And essentially it's going to mean that I'm going to have higher quality, better looking footage, and that's going to mean that I'm going to be able to kind of film and edit more cinematic looking scenes and sequences. Basically, I'm going to have better video by filming in log, but I still need to kind of practice editing log footage because I'm still kind of a noob at it, and there's a lot I can learn. So a long way to go, guys, a long way to go. Anyways, another great thing about this camera is that it is quite small and compact. I mean, I say it's small and compact. When I pick up the Canon M50 next to it, the M50 feels like a toy. It's just tiny compared to this. However, if I hang on, let me show you. This here is a this here is a semi-pro level kind of DSLR camera, and this is the Canon EOS R. So if I hold them kind of side by side, you can see that actually they're about the same size, I would say. However, this camera here on the left, which is the EOS 60D, I've actually got a whole video coming out on this soon, but I'm not going to spoil what that video is about. This is actually a really old camera, but this DSLR camera is arguably bigger than the mirrorless Canon EOS R, and it's for something that's an older camera. So if I were to get a DSLR camera with a similar kind of functionality to this, it'd probably be a lot chunkier than this is right now. However, it's not very different from the Canon EOS RP, and the size of the RP was maybe a slight bit bigger. The grip here on the side is a little bit chunkier, and it's nicer to hold. And being this kind of small form factor, it is very nice to use. It's not too heavy. It's light enough that I can use it for long periods of time, especially when I'm doing my paid photography work. It is quite a good size. If I take the lens off, you guys can kind of see better. Like, it is kind of a nice size. Without the lens, it's quite nice and light. I do have the Canon RF lens here, which is an RF 85mm, which is what I use to do a lot of my kind of portrait photos and stuff, and it does kind of add a little bit to the weight, but it's still kind of nice and small to hold. You guys can see how kind of nice and compact it looks. It's good to hold up. It's not very heavy. However, once you add this battery grip, I kind of mentioned this as well before, once you add this battery grip onto it, which admittedly I don't really keep on all the time. I did when I was vlogging the other day. However, generally, I would not keep the battery grip on. It does kind of make it a lot more chunky. It makes it look like the 1DX camera, which is cool. I really like that look. It's a very nice chunky look, and it does add a little bit of weight to it. However, that grip is very comfortable to kind of hold and use, especially if I'm taking a lot of photos. And having the kind of double battery power here does definitely make it more reassuring that I'm not going to run out of juice mid photo shoot. So yeah, I'm going to take this back off because I don't want to be kind of holding it with the grip on whilst I'm filming this video, because I'm probably going to end up breaking my wrist or something. Anyway, here you go. Back to being nice and compact. Fits right into my camera bag. Doesn't take up much extra space. Good weight, nice and comfortable to use. I've used it for long periods of time during some paid photography work, and my hands have not gotten as tired as I had imagined. It's still nice and light, and it just kind of feels good to use. And the great thing is it does work with all of the lenses that I already have. Most of the lenses I have are Canon EF lenses, so they're not native to this camera because this does have the Canon RF mount. However, I do have 2 adapters, one which is kind of a standard Viltrox EF to RF adapter. So this kind of goes on here, and then I can add any of my EF lenses on top of it. I do have another one, which is I think in the other room, which has the control ring, and I spoke about the control ring in my EOS RP video, and it's basically a ring that you can set to a specific setting that you can then control using said control ring. But yeah, I've got another adapter that has an additional control ring on it because the EF lenses don't. However, if I'm not using the adapter and I'm using kind of an RF lens, I don't need to do that because it has that control ring here right next to the kind of focus wheel. So I've got that additional control ring already on the RF lenses. But yeah, it works with all of my other lenses. I have no problems with it. I did most of that vlog with my 16-35 on it, which is what I'm using right now to film this video, stuck onto the M50 with a speed booster on it. So yeah, fits all my lenses, which basically means I don't really need to reinvest in more lenses. However, some of the RF lenses are newer and better, so as time goes on I will probably upgrade my gear. As it stands right now, I don't need to because everything I use kind of just works. Of course, this is a 30 megapixel camera with the same kind of Digic 8 processor that the RP and the M50 has, which is a really good processor. The sensor is fantastic on this, and the 30 megapixel camera basically means that it is fantastic for stills photography as well, which is great for all of the paid photography work that I do. And now there's a reason I always say paid photography work instead of professional work or paid professional work, whatever. I still don't consider myself a professional when it comes to the photography and videography work that I do. I'm still learning. So yeah, paid photography work is the term that I'm going to be using until I do consider myself a professional. I'm still not a pro. I am kind of learning as I go, and hopefully I'll get there one day. Anyways, moving on from that. So yeah, all the paid photography work I do now is done with this Canon EOS R, and honestly, the image quality is fantastic. It obviously has Canon's color science built into it, which makes the kind of still images that come out of it look fantastic. Some of the pictures I took whilst I was out walking around London came out amazingly. I'll put some of those photos up on Instagram, so you guys can go and check those out. Links in the description box below. Go and hit me up with a follow, I guess. I've been using it for a few weeks now, actually, and I've done a bunch of paid work with it, and I've not had a client who has been disappointed. Though I don't really think clients can tell exactly which camera you're using and the differences between them, as long as the images look nice. And anyway, it takes really good photos and video. So basically, it's a really good camera. Given that this thing is almost 3 years old now, it's still probably one of the best mirrorless cameras out there, in my opinion, especially one of the best Canon cameras. I mean, after this, you've got the Canon EOS R5 and the R6 that have come out. The R5 and R6 are also fantastic cameras, however, they are a little bit over my price point. So what do I think of this in terms of a camera to purchase in the year 2021? Well, I think it's still a fantastic camera. It is very underrated. It looks very underwhelming on paper, especially in 2021. However, I think the performance that this thing gives out and the kind of functionality it has with the features that it has, and the fact that it can film in 8-bit C-Log is definitely a bonus, especially for kind of aspiring new filmmakers and cinematographers, or people who are kind of taking that first step into moving towards a professional level filmmaking career. Then picking one of these up to practice filming and editing in log, just like I have, is probably a really good idea. So for the price that you are getting this at and the features that it has, it's still a really good choice in 2021. That's my opinion. However, there is one thing that I am a little bit disappointed in, which a lot of the Sony cameras have that came out around the same time as this, is that the fact that it does not have 120 FPS setting. It does actually. It has 120 FPS, but in 720p, and you don't get the dual pixel autofocus in that, which is a little disappointing. However, until now, I've kind of made do with filming all my B-roll and segments in 60 FPS and then slowing it down to get that nice, smooth, buttery B-roll. So I don't really think I'll be missing anything. However, I do think it would be nice to play around with 120 FPS setting and kind of film B-roll and see what the differences are. It is what it is. Doesn't have it, it's fine. I'm not really losing out on much. 60 FPS is more than enough. Another thing is it does only have the one memory card slot. A lot of the more professional high-grade cameras tend to have more than one, which isn't a limitation for me. It might be a limitation for somebody who's looking for something a little bit more high-end. But for me, I love this camera. It's really, really good. It's fantastic so far. I've been using it for a couple of weeks. I might do a more detailed, in-depth review of what I think of it later on. But for the time being, Canon EOS R, fantastic camera, and I definitely would recommend it in 2021 and beyond, because so far I've not seen anything that's come out around the same price point that does better than it. Takes fantastic photo, records fantastic looking video. Canon's color science is always fantastic, and having C-Log is definitely a massive bonus. And that is it, guys. I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna put that camera down. I'm gonna leave it here, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you guys got something out of that video. If you did like the video, then hit that like button down below, and if you haven't already, then do make sure you hit that subscribe button if you enjoy all of my content in general. And you know what I'm gonna say, if you want to know when my next videos are coming out, then do hit that notification bell as well. My god, I'm getting tired of saying that all the time. That's it for today. I'm gonna leave you here, and I'm gonna go cry in pain because my legs are really sore. So this is a very tired Kai24 signing out.